Alright, what's going on, guys? So today we're going to talk, or we're going to start a little series on supplements, which ones are effective, which ones I recommend, which ones the research backs, which ones are worth your money. So to start that off, the top of the list, the cream of the crop, we're going to talk about creatine today. So creatine, in a sense, is just something that's naturally found in your body that's going to aid in energy production in weightlifting. That's my understanding of it. I don't have a PhD in science, but I've done as much research as I possibly can on it, and that's what I've come across. On that note, for this video and this entire series and anything you see on supplements ever, I first recommend that you go to examine.com and type in the individual ingredients on the supplement you're taking and learn exactly what is making these things advantageous to you, or what is just a marketing scheme, fancy words, and things to get you to buy more, obviously. So let's put that out of the way, put that on the back burner. Keep in mind that all supplements are made by companies. Companies want to sell you things. So you might not necessarily need the things they're telling you are going to be great for you or going to give you results. So always keep that in mind, that supplements is not a scheme, but kind of schemey. You know what I'm saying? But not to sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist. So let's get to the meat and potatoes. Is that? I don't know. Alright, let's get to the bottom of this. Alright, so creatine supplements, the main things that you're going to want to keep in mind. First off, it's not unsafe in any way whatsoever. There's never been a conclusive study in the history of ever that has proved anything bad about creatine. Now, if you go and do your own research, which you should, you may find that the only two potential downsides ever that have been reported are rare cases of nausea and stomach cramping while taking creatine. Both of these were highly correlated with not drinking enough water while you took it. So just in general, you're probably going to suffer from nausea or stomach cramping if you're doing intense workouts and you're not drinking enough water. So we can just kind of write that off as kind of a side effect of something else that I kind of paralleled and messed with the experiments. So just don't worry about it being bad for you. Don't worry about like a shroud of doubt or cloudiness around the supplement. It's not that bad for you. But along those lines, I'm not going to sit here and tell you there's nothing bad about it. It's only good, it's great, it's perfect. Because in reality, there's not a lot that's bad. I mean, there's nothing bad about it, but there's not a lot that's like crazy, out of the world good about it. It's not like a miracle worker. When we're talking about creatine, we're talking about like a couple reps here and there. You might get more from having creatine in you, from having the saturation in your muscle cells, to the extra water, whatever you want to say. And if we're looking at like the span of 5 to 10 years, you might move up a certain amount of weight in like a month less time. Like it might take you one less month to pull 6 plates on a deadlift over a span of 7 or 8 years of training for it. So we're not talking about drastic results. We're not talking about you start taking creatine and then all of a sudden a week later you move from the 80-pound dumbbells to the 120s. Like that doesn't happen. So write off this fantasy in your head that creatine is like a crazy effective super supplement, because it's not. It's just proven, tried and true, and can help. So with that being said, how do you want to take it and what do you want to take? You want to take creatine monohydrate. Look on your label. This says creatine monohydrate. Honestly, I wouldn't even trust that half the time. Flip it around. Look at the supplement facts. This will focus. There you go. Creatine monohydrate. Simple as, wait. I now realize I'm using my front-facing camera, so this is backwards. So look at the supplements that you buy, and you want it to say creatine monohydrate, because Actually, I don't even know if the way the video works, if that will be backwards. Regardless, creatine monohydrate is all you want. You want, if a serving is 5 grams, you want 5 grams of creatine monohydrate. You don't want like artificial colors, anything. You can get the flavored versions, but what that actually is that now you're gonna get like 5 grams of creatine and 5 grams of flavored sugar or something, and but you're still gonna get sold by the weight. So now you're just getting less creatine for your money. So the best way to do it is just get unflavored creatine monohydrate powder. You can mix it in with your pre-workout drink or with orange juice or coffee or whatever you drink, your BCAAs, if you bought into that supplement. Um, it doesn't matter. You just want to take 5 grams of the pure creatine powder, or if you have some sort of crazy mix that has a 15-gram serving which contains 5 grams, and you want to take that 15-gram serving, you want to get 5 grams of the actual creatine monohydrate a day. It says its studies have said 3 to 5 grams for most people, but just stick to 5 so that you are covering the high end, because too much isn't going to do anything for you at all, and it's not going to hurt you, but it's not going to benefit you. So just be safe. It's very cheap. Like we're talking, you take 5 grams of this a day. This costs $20 with no coupon codes or anything. And that's going to last you, for 5 grams a day, that's going to last you a little over half a year, 6 months. So I'm pretty sure that's an investment most of us can make, especially if you consider the fact that most people waste all kinds of money on all kinds of nonsense supplements that don't do anything, instead of spending quality money on the ones that do things. Anyways, so what time of day do you want to take it? That doesn't matter at all. You can take it as soon as you wake up. You can take it on an empty stomach, a full stomach, right after a meal, right before a meal, right before you work out, during your workout, after your workout, before you go to bed. You can take it, I don't know. You can take it with a warm drink, a cold drink, it doesn't matter. You can dump it directly in your mouth and then chug water afterwards, which I do not recommend if you get the kind that looks like flour. There's 2 kinds. One looks like flour and one looks like sugar, and that depends on whether or not it's micronized. That is irrelevant to its function. That's just like basically something that determines whether or how nice it mixes in water. I definitely recommend the micronized kind, which is like the sugar sand texture kind, because it's easier to take, and it's never gross. Sometimes the non-micronized is a little gross, the flour kind, but that's irrelevant. Don't worry about that, because in the grand scheme of things that doesn't really matter, especially if you mix it with like a flavored beverage, and you're not going to taste the difference regardless of which one you use. You don't cycle it. You don't stop taking creatine once you start taking creatine. You take it every day. You don't want to cycle it. You don't want to worry about anything like people telling you, oh, like hurts your organs if you're on it consistently. You don't give them a break. Anything that you have to cycle, you probably shouldn't take in the first place. It's a good rule of thumb, because anything that's going to hurt your organs for a long time is probably just bad in general. So don't take it if you have to stop taking it for some reason. I don't know. I don't understand. It's kind of like steroids. No. You have to cycle steroids. Probably shouldn't take steroids then. Anyways, that's a whole nother story. One thing you should definitely keep in mind is that if you're cutting or something, if you're cutting, or if you're too preoccupied with the scale and you don't quite understand how, or you don't quite take into account the fact that you're starting to take creatine, you might get thrown off a little bit by this, because when you start taking creatine, you're going to start holding more water in your muscle cells, which when you step on the scale in the morning, before you eat anything or drink anything, not at the gym, when you step on the scale in the morning, it's going to be a couple pounds heavier, because you're going to be holding water in your muscle cells. This, I guess you can call bloating, but the most unnecessary and stupid thing that you can hear people say about creatine is that they're afraid to take it because they're going to bloat. That doesn't happen. If you hold water, you hold it in your muscle cells. You don't hold it like in your skin. You don't look soft or fluffy when you take creatine. That's ridiculous. It's only going to go to your water, or the water's only going to go to your muscle cells. You can only ever look better from taking creatine. You can only ever be better off from taking creatine. There's literally no downsides besides the cost of the supplement. But when we're talking about supplements, they all cost money. So creatine has no downsides. It's pretty much going to work for everybody. Slightly. Don't think it's a game changer, but it is pretty much going to work. It's recommended by all the top natural bodybuilders that there are, as one of the only non-bullshit supplements. So if you're looking into taking supplements, well, first off, don't look into taking supplements if you don't have your nutrition and training on point. If you are looking into taking supplements, do your own research on examine.com. You probably want to start with creatine and subsequent ones that we will cover in subsequent videos of this new supplement series. But until next time, go do some research on creatine. Buy it if you want to take it, or buy it if you want to take it after you do your research. Don't just listen to me. Go find a good price. Creatine monohydrate only. You don't want to waste money. If you buy the other stuff, it's just hyped up, and you're just going to get less creatine for less creatine for more money, and it's ineffective. And you might get some flavoring in there, but you probably don't need flavoring to take it. Excuse me, just ate a big meal. Anyways, until next time, keep lifting heavy. Peace.